Investing is an activity that always comes with its inherent risks, much like a shadow follows a form. Whenever you consider a fixed investment, sooner or later you must ask yourself, what are the risks associated with it? In this arena, any certainty about the future is nothing more than a product of imagination, a product that is most frequently marketed to inexperienced investors just beginning to explore the market. It is not hard to come across numerous online stock investing courses promising investors formulas to beat the market, technical tools that guarantee profits, or even the empty slogans of brokerage managers. In investing, as in life, no action can ever guarantee that the final result will be exactly as you hope. Uncertainty about the future remains an immutable constant, and investors have no choice but to learn to accept this truth. Once this principle is internalized, a smart investor will also recognize that the most reliable scam warning in investing is the opposite of that truth, any promise that guarantees future profits. In the language of multi-level marketing, it is a promise of X% returns over a fixed period. Why? Whenever you hear the phrase guaranteed returns from someone endlessly boasting about an investment project, it is best to hold on tightly to your wallet. Since the future is inherently uncertain, learning to cope with uncertainty in investing means thinking in terms of probability in the most objective manner possible. In other words, the most famous investors in the world are essentially those who think like professional poker players. How to absorb new information properly. Thomas Bayes was an English clergyman in the early 18th century. For those who have studied probability, statistics, or machine learning, Bayes is no stranger. He is known as the father of the famous Bayes theorem. In Nate Silver's well-known book Signal and the Noise Asterisk, the author provides a perfect example to describe Bayesian thinking. Imagine a man who has just been granted life in a world where he has no prior knowledge of it. The first time in his life he sees the sunrise, he panics and scrambles for cover from its glare. He does not know whether the sunrise is a normal phenomenon or merely a momentary madness of the world. However, day by day, as he witnesses the sunrise repeatedly, he becomes increasingly convinced that it is a permanent, non-random occurrence. On the very first day, he wasn't sure if he would see the sun tomorrow. Yet as days pass, his confidence grows, though it will never reach 100% with each sunrise he observes. Bayes' theorem is simple. When we predict the probability that something will occur in the future, it is an unending process where the probability is continuously updated with every new piece of data, forcing us to adjust our predictions. We never start with an absolute 0% or 100% because Bayesian thinking does not allow us to boast that something will certainly happen or never happen. This style of thinking is continuously evolving, with each new data point bringing our probability estimates closer to the truth. Bayes' theorem thus affirms that everything we know about the future is essentially a probabilistic guess, a number that will never be fixed, but will always change over time as new information forces us to update our predictions. As the saying goes, one thing is certain about the future, nothing is certain. Bayesian thinking compels us to acknowledge the superficiality of our understanding of the world and reminds us that we must continually update our information in the hope that our estimates will get closer to the truth, though they will never be 100% accurate. To do this, one must first admit that nothing about the future is truly certain. An open-minded attitude is essential in getting closer to the truth, and confirmation bias is a dangerous enemy that must be eliminated. Whether inadvertently or intentionally, professional poker players and savvy investors apply the finest elements of Bayesian thinking in their work. They consider future events as probabilities, continuously update these numbers with real-time data, and are ready to bet big when the odds are overwhelmingly in their favor. Just like in poker, a smart investor is ready to stake a large amount when the probability of winning is very high, even though the probability is never exactly 100%. How is investing like poker? The legendary poker player Doyle Brunson, often hailed as the godfather of poker, once said something that transformed my early perspective on the game. Poker is not simply a game of winning or losing. Essentially, poker is the art of making the most accurate decisions under conditions of uncertainty. You must know when to bet more, when to fold, and when to go all in. When I first started learning about poker, I, like many novices, viewed the game solely through the lens of winning or losing money without considering its other dimensions. Most beginners think poker is just about gambling and that the ultimate goal is to win as much money as possible. While that objective is not entirely wrong, focusing solely on the outcome of wins and losses prevents a player from reaching a higher level of skill. In poker, both skill and luck play decisive roles in the final outcome, and a player's ability is directly proportional to the effectiveness of their decision-making process. The best poker players are those who make the most accurate decisions in extremely uncertain situations. What constitutes the most accurate decision under uncertainty? Simply put, it is the decision based entirely on the probabilities of future events. In poker, a hand can unfold in many different ways, each with its own set of probabilities. A player's skill is reflected in their ability to sense whether the current odds are in their favor. In essence, every time a player places a bet, they are making a decision about a possible future scenario in that hand. The greater their confidence in a favorable outcome, the larger the bet. In other words, the amount wagered reflects the player's confidence in the potential outcome, excluding the case of bluffing, which is a whole different category in poker. A player who is more confident in their future winning chances will be willing to bet more. Thus, the player who best estimates the probability of winning will optimize their final decision-making process. However, even professional poker players understand that a 90% chance of winning also implies a 10% chance of losing. On average, in 5 similar hands, they might win 4 and lose 1. And if that 10% results in losing the chips wagered, they are not overly concerned because fundamentally, they know they made the correct decision, but luck favored their opponent that time. Professional poker players fully accept the inherent uncertainty of the game. They understand that even if they make the correct decision every time, they might still lose due to luck. But in the long run, those who make decisions based on accurate probability estimates will always emerge victorious in the game of poker. The process of investing is very similar to making decisions in poker. Uncertainty is always part of the game. A smart investment decision may sometimes result in a loss, and a poor decision might occasionally yield a profit, at least in the short term. However, intelligent investors are never short-term gamblers. Their focus is on the long-term outcome. It is only after the market has passed through periods of exuberance and entered a phase of calm that we can truly identify the ultimate winners. When to bet small, bet big, or fold. If you have a 90% chance of winning a hand in poker, it is only natural that you would want to bet as much as possible. But if you are the opponent, with only a 10% chance of winning and a similar understanding of the game, why would you risk more money with just a 10% chance? To illustrate with another example, if you are a fan of English football, you know that Liverpool is one of the strongest teams in the league this season, and their opponent tomorrow might be Norwich City, one of the weaker teams. Everyone knows Liverpool has a high chance of winning, and naturally, most people would bet on Liverpool. But then, who would be on the other side of the wager? Who would be the full betting on Norwich City's victory? The answer clearly depends on the payout odds. If betting on Liverpool offers odds of 3-2, while betting on Norwich City gives you odds of 1-100, then the choice becomes less clear-cut. Liverpool might have a high chance of winning, but if you only win 2 units for every 3 units bet, whereas Norwich City has a low chance of winning but could pay out 100 units on a 1-unit bet, then only a careful calculation of the odds would reveal the true value. In soccer betting, the odds are explicit for each match, but in poker and investing, such information is hidden. Poker players and investors must estimate these probabilities for themselves and make the most rational decision possible. Typically, when evaluating an investor's skills, the first piece of information sought is the recent rate of return of a given investment. In poker, if you have only a 10% chance of winning, the only reason you would bet more money on a hand is if the potential winnings when that 10% occurs are at least 10 times the bet. This means that if you have to put in $100 on a hand with only a 10% chance to win, you would only do so if the payoff is greater than $1,000. On average, over 10 similar hands, you might win once and lose 9 times. Therefore, you want to be sure that the amount won when that 10% chance occurs exceeds the total losses from the other 9 hands. This is a basic concept in poker, yet applying it to investing presents specific challenges. 1. You cannot know the exact win rate for each investment. 2. You also cannot precisely determine the profit you might earn if an investment is successful. Poker players use basic mathematical tricks to quickly estimate their probability of winning each hand, but such luxuries are rare in investing. Investors can at best arrive at a range of estimates for the likelihood of success and potential returns. The more experienced an investor is, the closer their estimates are likely to be to reality. And much like professional poker players, seasoned investors are ready to bet big when the odds of success and the potential returns are highly favorable. Essentially, investing money in the market is akin to placing chips on a poker table, is an expression of your confidence in your future chances of winning. The greater your confidence, the larger the bet, and vice versa. As the poker legend Doyle Brunson once said, "Poker is the art of making the most accurate decisions under conditions of uncertainty. You must know when to bet more, when to fold, and when to go all in." In poker, the hand you play is analogous to the investment opportunity you consider. The wise player always asks, is this an attractive proposition with favorable odds and payouts? 1. If the answer is an absolute yes, bet big. 2. If the answer is a maybe, bet small. 3. If the answer is no, simply fold. In life, nothing is ever guaranteed, but that does not mean everything is a 50-50 proposition as many mistakenly believe. In reality, some events are much more likely to occur than others, yet even low probabilities can eventually materialize if the number of trials is sufficiently large. To be successful in investing, adopting a betting mindset is one of the most critical skills because the Bayesian model is one of the best tools an investor can use to deal with future uncertainty. Learn to accept both the inherent uncertainty of the future and the undeniable probabilistic nature of investing, and you will develop a more rational approach to evaluating potential investments.